Good day and welcome to Code Escuela. In this session, we will talk about arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used for calculations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. They can only be used on number data types, which could be integers or floating points. Let's jump straight into our code example. Okay, so C# provides several arithmetic operators. So we have addition, which is for adding numbers, subtraction or for subtracting numbers, multiplication for multiplying numbers, division for dividing numbers. If you notice, the symbol would be this one. So it's a slash. And then for the multiplication, the character would be star or asterisk. Okay? So let's move on. We have remainder operator. Remainder is like a division, but instead of giving you the result of the division, you are given the remainder of the division. Okay, and then we have the increment and then the decrement. Okay, so now let's look at some code examples. So now here we have several variables that we have initialized, so just to show that how they are used. So we have addition, so we perform 1 plus 1. Then subtraction, we have 2 minus 1. Then multiplication, 2 asterisk 5, or multiplied by 5, okay? Or 2 times 5, okay? And then division, so the operation would be like this: 10 divided by 2. Actually, all of these expressions, uh, you're not required to add spaces. You can just add like that straight. I did spaces for clarity. Okay, it's much easier to see. And then we have the remainder. If you use remainder, then 5. I don't know how you would say this expression, but 5 remainder 2. All right. And then uh, these operations up to division is you can also perform compound assignments. Okay, so what does that mean? Compound assignments is like a shortcut. So now you have here, like in this line 24, we have perform addition plus equals 1. That would be equivalent to addition is equal to addition plus 1. All right, so this uh, kind of symbol would be a shortcut, okay, or a shorthand for adding a value to itself. All right, same thing with subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, so that is compound assignments. Okay, now these operators, you can use this in whatever expressions that uh, you want, depending on whatever logic or code you are dealing with. And so yeah, it's basically just basic arithmetic operators. And so next would be the increment and the decrement operators. Okay, the increment would be double plus signs, okay, or plus plus, and then the decrement is double minus sign, okay, or double negative sign. And so we have here this line declared an variable increment, and then we used it here. So that is how you use an increment operator. So you append plus plus if you are going to do increment, or minus minus if you are going to do a decrement operation. Okay, so if we run this section would output the results. Okay, let's see what would be the values. Okay, now first one, we started with an increment variable of 1, and then we used the increment operator to add 1 to increment, which resulted in a value of 2. Okay, Now, the decrement would be the opposite of it, which means to subtract 1 to itself, okay? So which means that it resulted into 1 since we have our decrement variable started with 2, and then we perform a decrement, and then it resulted into 1, which is basically saying that 2 minus 1, okay? So that's how you use these increment and decrement operators, okay? Also, just to let you know that there's two uh, types of or let's shall we say variant for these operators, the increment and decrement. You can use this as postfix, which what we have right here as an example. We appended it after the variable, and then one uh, variant is the prefix, okay, which means that for the increment side we added the increment first, okay, after the before the variable, okay. So that is what you call prefix, but it still does the same thing. It adds or increments the variable into 1. Same thing with the decrement operator, okay. uh, it could might it or it could get confusing as to why we would use this one, the prefix. You can look at there are several explanations as to why you would use this, but uh, if we try to visit the documentation for on this on the Microsoft site, uh, this would like behave differently on say if you're passing this as parameters in your methods. So this one, if you perform this one, the value would result on the original value of the variable. After that, it would get appended, okay? And then the same with decrement. It's kind of confusing, but yeah, it's just to let you know that we have this kind of uh, style or variant, okay? So yeah, this session has been all about arithmetic operators. Thank you for joining us in this learning and see you in our next session.